welcome back to another episode of the Melanin Money Show. You already know the vibes. You know who I'm with. Shout out Carter. Shout out Jacqueline. What y'all got going on?
Nothing much, man. Just happy to be here again, man. Loving these episodes, loving being transparent. And I think we need to show a little bit more of our personality. So I'm gonna take lead on that today.
Okay. All right.
That was the head tilt.
We excited to see what that looks like. Oh man. So Jacqueline, you already know that we're relying on you to let us know what are we discussing today.
Hey guys, I'm over here. I'm just staying positive. Okay. Got my positivity water. I'm ready to kick us off. I love what we've been building. I love the community that we've been building. It's been amazing, honestly, to hear the stories, the success stories. A lot of what people just need is encouragement and empowerment to do what it is that they want to do. So I don't know who encouraged these superstars to be as fabulous as they are, but we're going to talk about how you can not stay in your lane, how you can build a multi-million-dollar business, and how you can successfully build multiple streams of income.
Millionaire.
Hey, I want to take
Shout
a
out
moment.
Khaled.
I want to take a moment. Shout out Jacqueline, because me and George should show up. She actually plans these great topics that we're going to discuss today. So this topic of not staying in your lane, when I saw this, I was like, yo, like Jacqueline really knows what people want to hear. So we appreciate you.
Yeah. Let's tap in. So, the thing about this topic is, we're the Melanin Money Show, right? So we understand implicitly that some of what we talk about is going to intersect with, people of color, which inherently is going to intersect with culture, right? Because we are the culture if we keep it in the buck, right? And so we thought, what better way to have a topic where we can kind of dissect and dive into the value of not staying in your lane, right? So on our last episode, if you tuned in, we talked about college, and, college is all about staying in your lane. Go to school for one thing, get a good job, stay at that job for as long as humanly possible, get a pension, retire at 65 when you're old, dusty, and all that good shit, and stay in your lane, right? But what we want to talk about, today is the value in not staying in your lane. So I'm sure we're going to chime on a bunch of different folks, but I think three of the ones that we highlighted was Rihanna, Jay-Z, and Kanye, and just how they all started in a certain place with a certain expertise, and ultimately that blossomed into the billionaire status that we all know and love that they've been able to achieve. So Jacqueline, who do you want to dissect first?
Let's let Carter choose.
Well, before
we say Carter, we got to do Sean Carter.
Let's start Jay-Z, but before we go there, like all of them are billionaires. Each and every one of them are billionaires. So again, I saw the meme of Run This Town Tonight. It just hits different, knowing that all three of them are billionaires. So I say we start with Sean Carter, because he was the first, I think. And he's the first. He's the OG. He's the OG.
So and so we jokingly, I say jokingly, but I'm a visionary, and nothing I do is an accident. There's never been anything that you've ever seen me do. You might have thought it was a coincidence. You might have thought no. Everything I do has a purpose and it has intention, even if I don't know it. Right?
Okay.
So I sent the team being us three, a mocked up picture, and Carter reshared it on Instagram as well, of Jay, Rihanna, and Kanye. They were all together in the picture, and I said us, like, yo, we next, we next out here. But my point of saying that is, I'm a huge Jay-Z fan. As a matter of fact, so y'all don't think I'm bluffing bullshit. I can't do it right now. But over there in my corner of my office, I have every Jay-Z CD unopened, including the unplugged albums, right over there. So I'm a huge fan of Jay-Z. And so if we're going to start with him and dissecting Jay, let's just look at it, right? So first and foremost, and he would say this, right? Like Jay-Z, started his career, I think 26 is young, but I guess in hip hop and entertainment, that's kind of when he got his spark, was like around 26, right? And it's by all accounts, that's old in entertainment, right? So he got his start then. And then at that point, he was in music, had already made some money outside of music, doing some other economics we're not going to talk about. He's passed the statute of limitations, but it's all good. And so he started out doing that. And then he was one of the first to venture into the lane of like fashion and apparel, right? And so it's like, man, okay, who's this kid that's rapping, dropping bars, dropping CDs, dropping, you know, all that good stuff. And now he has Rockaware, right? So, you know, started transitioning to that. But you best believe at that point in his career, people were questioning what he was doing, like almost like LeBron now, shut up and dribble, right? It's like, bro, you're a rapper. What are you doing? Right. So he had the merch. We say merch now. Merch we didn't call it merch back then, right? He had Rockaware. Then he ventured into, correct me if I'm wrong on my timeline, but I think spirits, like alcohol on some level, was like next somewhere on the timeline. Right. And then now
he had his own label, right?
He had his own label, right? Had his own label.
And then the spirits, yeah.
Gotcha. Right, and the spirits. And then, I mean, we probably aren't going to do the actual timeline justice, but the reality is from rapper to now, we got multiple spirits companies. We got the crazy title deal that he did. He recently sold the majority share of that to come up on a bag. Recently sold a big stake in the liquor brand. Cannabis company now. I mean, the list goes on, right? We could obviously roll out the credentials.
He owned a piece of the Knicks too. I mean, the Nets. He owned a piece of the Nets. Yeah.
All these different pieces, right? And you know, from the college world, from the traditional world, they would tell you, you're doing too much, right? You got a lot going on. You're gonna stay in your lane. You're gonna cloud like you're the market. People aren't gonna know who you are and what you do, right? But by not staying in his lane, that catapulted him to billionaire status with a B by not staying in his lane. And the reason why this is so important is because so many people on the internet will tell you, you know, the same thing. It's like, stay in your lane. Like, why are you doing this? You talking about fashion. You talking about this. You talking about that. Now, again, what I will say, let me caveat this because I don't want to go off a deep end. Let me caveat this by saying, he didn't start talking about that other stuff until he was already a millionaire.
Boom. That's why I was.
Say it again.
So he didn't start talking about and pivoting and diversifying until he was a millionaire. Y'all heard me say this quote before, but wealth is made through concentration. It's preserved through diversification.
Hey, I never heard you say that. He said again?
Wealth is made through concentration. It's preserved through diversification. Right. So I want to give actually Carter and Jacqueline credit to this. Right. So many of y'all might not know, but Jacqueline has had a very successful Airbnb business. Many of y'all might not know, but Jacqueline has owned real estate. Right. Y'all might know her as a CFP financial advisor, but like she's just a lot of things behind the scenes that y'all don't know that she's done. Right. Because from a concentration perspective, in terms of what she wants the marketplace to know her primary value for, that's all she's spoken about. Let's talk about Carter, right? Carter owns a multifamily property in Chicago, right? Carter has had a successful stint in the Turo business, right? I know my people, right? I know who, y'all wouldn't be here if I didn't know who the hell y'all were.
Turo helped me quit the job, bro. That's what got me started. So yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So successful Turo, all these things. But you might see a little drip, little sprinkle here and there, but by and large, y'all don't really know much about it, right? And that's because wealth is made through concentration and preserved through diversification, right? So it's like the first thing you want to do is you want to blow up, keep the main thing the main thing. So that's the number one lesson. Yes, we want to talk about all these things that they did and that they're doing now, but there was like from 2005 or 2006 until 2017, Rihanna didn't talk about nothing but music. You follow what I'm saying? Yes, it's Fenty now. Yes, it's all that now, lingerie, makeup, perfume, but she ain't talk about nothing else from 2005 or 2007 until 2017. You know what I'm saying? So like, let's understand the context. Everything, context matters. We're going to talk about how it's important to venture out and branch out and do these other things, but 7 streams ain't going to make you 7 figures, right? Make your 7 and then start pivoting, then start diversifying, right? We look at Bezos, we look at Zuckerberg, we look at Elon, 70+% of their wealth is tied up into the business that they own, 70+%, right? Then they started diversifying because you want to master and refine your genius. I want to give Carter even more credit. Like every time he shows up, there's so many different variations, so many different branches of the tree that you can talk about. You know, how to master taxes as a trader, how to master taxes in real estate, how to master taxes in Airbnb. Like, so get really, really good at squeezing the life out of the main thing. And once you're a household name, once it's almost like Kleenex. Kleenex is a brand, it's not tissue. But when we sit down, you need a Kleenex because they became a household name. Become a household name, right? And then start talking about the other stuff. Now, here's the caveat. You can do some of the other stuff behind the scenes as long as it's not interfering with your main thing, but try your hardest to not like bring that to the forefront so that you can be known for something.
And let's talk about it. Jay-Z never fell off in this. So in this whole time, right? Jay-Z had all of these ventures, right? And he also never really fell off the rap game. He always was first front of mind, right? Everything else in the back end is great because if you protect your brand and what you're best at, you're always going to be seen in the public as a reputable source. But don't forget what got you here. Right. But it's also okay to go into other ventures. So, Jacqueline, what do you have to say about, just the whole how Jay-Z mastered staying on the top of mountain what he was known for, but also like you're doing, silently pivoting and making his money work in other ways?
I say that I agree with you entirely. Like, hey, start here and keep what it is that you want to really do at the forefront. But also, I feel like you guys missed out a very, very valuable point, and that is the lady by his side. Y'all missed out Beyonce.
Why you have to go there?
That's the other B.
That's the other B. It's the other B. It's two very important Bs. We messed up. We missed one.
Yeah. How could you leave her out? Okay, they're so in sync that I don't know how it really came about. Like, does anybody really know about Beyonce's mysteries, right? But we do know that they were married on April 4th. 4 is their favorite number, so it's the 4th month of the year, the 4th day. Like, that's how in sync they are. So yes, his net worth is almost triple hers, actually. I think her net worth is like 500 million.
I think she's a little bit higher now, but after the Uber went IPO.
Yeah, it should be, but it's still a little bit lower. But either way, y'all are right. Still enough money. Pew Research, by the way, says that you need to make $70,000 a year to be happy. So they're way beyond happy. But
they're ecstatic. Yeah.
Well, here's a stat. So in 2000, let's track Jay-Z's net worth, right?
Oh, you got it up?
Let's track it. So while you're looking at it, that's the point that I'm trying to make, is surrounding yourself with people who are on the same mission as you. Obviously, Beyonce's been on a mission to be the best and arguably is there at the top. So I think that you can't miss out on that point.
Yeah. So Jay-Z's net worth, now y'all forgive me for all of y'all like fact checkers.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at this in real time.
Yeah.
But Jay-Z's net worth was south of 300 million when him and Beyonce got together. Right? South of 300 million. So now here's the thing. Now I don't know how much she contributed from 300 million to 1.4 billion. Yeah. But all I know is that there was an extreme uptick in that. Now, there's a lot of value in that, right? We can't negate the fact, like Jacqueline said, that having the right people in your corner. On the last podcast, we talked about a little bit about being in the right room. And being, there's no other room, that you're going to be in more frequently than the one with your spouse, right? So like,
yes, sir.
The analogy I always like to use when it comes to like finding the right life partners like this. If anybody plays sports growing up, you play AAU, you play whatever, and you have that kid that you played with for so many years, right? That you get to the point where like, you can just make eye contact. You already know the move. You already know, like, I'm gonna do the no look pass, I'm gonna do the alley, because y'all on the same team and y'all been playing together. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it is when you find, the right life partner. You know what I'm saying? So like, she's there to complement. And then when you have the vulnerability, here's what I did. And I shocked myself. This is how I knew I was gonna marry my wife. It shocked myself. We hadn't even been together that long. But I had a feeling that it was gonna like move in the right direction. I started telling her how to peep my bullshit. Right. And what I mean by that is I knew that if I was gonna be with her, I wanted her to be able to identify my own blind spots that would potentially jeopardize my trajectory. Because if I'm so good at articulating and hiding, like what it is I want you to see, then that's actually a hindrance to me being able to accelerate my growth. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, yo, I'm gonna keep it above. Remember I did that one time this way? You didn't even see it coming, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like I peed in your face and told you it was raining.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a figure of speech.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? But I said that because I was like, look, if I'm gonna have somebody on my team, let's go back to the analogy. If they're gonna be on your team, you want them to know, like, when he looks like this, when he feels like I know how to support and show up for that person. Right. And so I wanted to make sure that my team, my teammate knew exactly what that looked like. And so to your point, Jacqueline, I think that's 100% important that we acknowledge the power of having that right person, or those right, even if you're not married, the right people around you in your circle.
Gotcha. I mean, I agree with that. And I think that's so very important. And like Jay-Z and Beyonce got that. But the other two people, I don't think they got spouses that is supporting them in becoming billionaires, right? Well, I mean, Kanye, let's go in order. So Jay-Z was first, Kanye was second, Rihanna was third. So let's hit on Kanye for a second. That spousal situation is a little bit different, so I don't know if we want to touch that. But what I will say is this. Kanye was, even I thought he was crazy when he launched the Yeezy brand. Because again, I didn't believe in it. Like, I was like, when he launched the Yeezy brand, I'm like, that's not gonna work, right? It's not a thing, and then he made it. I don't know what the percentage is, but I think the Yeezy brand by itself might be valued at $1 billion. Mm-hmm. And I see people who don't have it spend $500 on a pair of his shoes. So what impressed me most about Kanye and what I learned from him as an admitted hater at the beginning was that anybody can think you're crazy, but as long as you are confident in what you're doing, anything is possible.
Yeah, like let's even touch on that, right? Like Kanye was a producer. He knew he wanted to be a rapper, right? But like people weren't looking at Kanye as a rapper. So going back to the original point of the podcast of like not staying in your lane, like Kanye, he was getting paid good money to be a producer. Kanye, stay in your lane. Like we got the rapping. Big bro got you. You know what I'm saying? And, Kanye was like, nah, like we gonna get these bars off too. You know what I'm saying? And imagine if he wouldn't have got those bars off. There's so many classics, so many albums that we wouldn't have had the opportunity to benefit from. So it's like, to Carter's point, an ingredient in the recipe is, despite all odds, you have to believe in you. You almost have to have like this delusional optimism as an entrepreneur, right? A healthy delusional optimism, which without context can seem like crazy. It's like, because if someone else can't see it, they're like, yo, bro, like, what are you doing? Like, bro, you're looking real crazy out here. Like, he was on the Breakfast Club or all these podcasts talking about, how much money he was in debt, trying to, take the Yeezy brand to the next level. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, like, the merchandise game, because y'all know I got the merchandise brand through Melanin Money, and like, it is a different game. It's not digital products. Like, it's inventory, it's SKUs. That's a totally different ball game. And so I can understand, like, I'm not on Kanye's level by any stretch of the imagination, but you're just hoping, like, this Black brilliant billionaire in the making slogan, that was in my head, and I'm just like, okay, well, I think people gonna rock with it. You never know. You never know people gonna rock with Melanin Millionaire. It seems cool to you, but then you put it out there and you make this tangible product, just basically hoping and believing that what was inside of your head is going to translate and manifest into something that people actually want. So Kanye, I rock with Kanye a lot.
Yeah, and I can appreciate your vulnerability, Carter, in saying that you were a hater in the beginning, because I think a lot of us do that. Like, you see somebody and you're like, oh yeah, they're doing that, but I could do that too if I wanted to. Like, oh, I could try that. I can make it work. And then it's like, okay, maybe you don't do it. Or in my case, like, I'm not interested in creating a Yeezy type brand, but there's a lot of gems that I think I can take from his journey and from his persistence. So I would just encourage people to look for the lesson in everything. Look for the lesson in what Jay has done, look for the lesson in what Kanye has done. And then I can resonate way more with Rihanna.
Let's get there.
This
is my favorite, because she came out of nowhere. I'm like, yo, what is happening, yo? So go ahead, Jacqueline, please, as a woman, speak on this. I didn't see it coming.
Okay, you didn't see the billionaire status coming?
No, Fenty. That whole thing, it just threw me. I didn't know it was a real thing. It came out of nowhere, and she blew up quick.
She not only did she blow up, like she also like showed y'all like, look, I'm gonna follow the bag. I'm not gonna follow y'all's opinion. Everybody was like, Rihanna, when's the new album coming? We need like, I'm not like, listen, I'm not worried about that.
She's not arguing with Beyonce and who the best artist in.
Exactly. I'm not worried about that. I'm about to get this real bag. Like y'all don't see it, y'all don't understand yet, but I'm in a real bag, literally, figuratively.
Do y'all know her story? I feel like unless we can speak to them real, like one to one, that we don't really know. But do y'all know her background at all?
Not at a high level. At a high, please enlighten me.
Yeah, so right from the island, from Barbados, her dad was actually like a drug and like alcohol abuser. Yeah. So she came from a very hard background. He ended up losing his job. You know, him and her mom got divorced because he was abusive. So she came from this very, very traumatic background. And so I can't say that that's what really propelled her, but I think that is part of it. So for those of you who didn't listen to episode 2, we talked about trauma. We talked about situations that we've been through and how to work through those things. So I feel like some of that trauma propelled her to reach her next level. But to the point of like, you didn't see it coming, Carter, I could definitely see that, because I don't know how much time you spent in the cosmetology space. I'm going to assume close to none. But I have had the pleasure of partaking in YouTube videos that teach you how to do your hair and how to do your makeup. This is the Melanin Money Show. So speaking fully transparently, I wasn't able to manage my natural hair. I always had to get it permed so that it was manageable. So when YouTubers came out and they started doing like hair tutorial videos, I was all on there like, oh, this is how you do it. I can do it this way. So the same thing happened with makeup. I was like, oh, well, you're just naturally going to end up watching some makeup tutorials as a woman. So when Kylie blew up with her makeup brand,
another billion.
Right. So then when it came out that Ree had Fenty, I was like, oh yeah, she getting it back. And to be honest, I'm too busy over here trying to figure out what I'm doing so that I can get there to really be predicting who's going to be the next billionaire. I'm trying to learn from y'all's lessons, but I know I'm going to stay in my lane. My lane hasn't branched out to beauty yet. So here we are with the boring.
Yet though. She said yet.
Yeah, no, hey, look, because if you don't sell yourself short, queen, don't do that. Go ahead.
I said yet.
Yeah, I'll pay you.
Yeah. So that's
Millionaire makeup coming soon.
Millionaire makeup. Let's get it. Stamp it. Boom. Go ahead.
So that's how I feel about her situation. What do y'all think?
Nah, I get that. I think what Rihanna demonstrated is that you have to be willing to ignore the box that people want to put you in. The box that people want to put her in is, where's your next album?
Yeah. And that box could be a jail if you don't see it coming.
If you don't see it coming. That box, you know what I'm saying? And so you have to be willing to stay the course and see the vision that you see through, despite what people expect of you. Because what happens is people will start to like try to force you to move in the direction that they think you're supposed to move into. Like the things that make them feel good, the things that they, want from you. Like they wanted new music from Ree. And Ree was like, I want bigger. And she was willing to temporarily, right, not appease those people to show them like, y'all, when y'all was pressing me for that album, well, this is what I was working on. And you got to be, that's the lesson that I think we can all take away. Like right now, like in social media world, there's this crave for relevancy and this perception that consistency is required. And I think there's a season of that. But if we also think about our favorite shows or our favorite movies, there's sometimes years in between, you know what I'm saying, the next drop. But when it drops, that it drops. Yeah. You follow what I'm saying? So sometimes it's not always about just how can I just show up and check a box. Sometimes you got to double back and be like, all right, when I hit them next, I got to hit them. And I think what we can learn from her is just like, when it's time to do what you're supposed to do, like it's gonna be time. You don't have to worry about like people wondering where you at and why you haven't dropped the next album. Like do what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it.
So I got let me cut in right here because I got an analogy I want to give George. I gave it to him before. I don't know if he remembers, and then I'm gonna circle this all back. So the analogy goes like this: sometimes you have to give up a stream to receive a waterfall. Period. Sometimes you have to give up a stream to receive a waterfall. So Rihanna gave up a stream of income from music. She didn't put an album for years. She gave up a huge stream of her income, but by doing that, she focused all her attention and received a waterfall, $1 billion waterfall from her Fenty brand. So guys, whoever's listening, don't be scared to give up a stream to receive a waterfall. And the second thing I'll let Jacqueline cut in is when we relaunched the Melanin Millionaire brand, I sent George a video. And that video was very simple by Rick Ross. He said, I don't want to worry about moving fast. I just want to move correctly. Right. So when we had this relaunch and we had this rebrand, I didn't care about moving fast. I just wanted us to move correctly. And now we see what the fruits of our labor is by being patient and moving correctly. So that's all I want to put in. Jacqueline, go ahead.
Yeah, I think you're right. Moving correctly, part of that can be the time, right? Making sure that you're moving at a certain pace. But I tweeted something. I said, you don't have to flee corporate America, but if you don't flee that thinking, it's going to keep you in a box forever. So,
okay. Cash drop.
To your point of giving up a stream for a waterfall, like for her to be able to make that pivot is amazing, because everybody can't always make that pivot to something new.
Or don't have the courage to, right? I think we all can, but don't have the courage to. So I don't know if we want to do this, but I'm going to just go for 2 minutes on my personal story of like doing what people did, getting out of my box. And George talks about this all the time. So like my box was being an accountant, do taxes, do tax planning, whatever. I had a great income and a great business on doing what was in my lane. But then again, we talked about Beyonce, having people around you, whether it's friends, relationship, family, whatever, to help see more of you than you see in yourself is important. So when George threw the course thing at me, like say, man, you should build a course, you should build an ebook, you should build something digital so people could borrow your brain. It wasn't that I thought I couldn't do it. I thought it was out of my lane of possibility because other accountants are not doing doing what I'm doing in the digital space. So for me, once I learned that I can do what's outside of the box that I'm in, I never, ever want to put myself in a box again, because I've taught myself that I can do things outside of what's in my box of normalcy, if that makes sense.
No, that makes a lot of sense. You know what I'm saying? And we're dynamic creatures, right? We're dynamic people. Like we have a variety of interests, things that, that we care about. And as long as, again, you've kept the main thing, and it's not detracting, sample, have fun. Like you don't have to lead with everything from a mindset of monetization. I think that's where people get stuck. It's like they can't connect the dots between me doing this and me getting a paycheck, right? So they get stuck because it's like, well, why would I do it, right? But if it makes you happy, right? If it's fulfilling, give it a shot. But here's the crazy game on that though. If you do something because you enjoy it, you're going to do it more frequently. Anything that you do frequently, you get good at. Anything that you get good at, you ultimately are going to get paid for. You see the crazy part about that?
Yes.
So that's why you have to be willing to just do those things. It's just like, I enjoy it, because there's kids on YouTube who make millions of dollars streaming, playing video games. You follow what I'm saying? And so I think it's just so important to remember, like this is the Melanin Money Show. This might seem contradictory, but the reality is we want to make sure that it's not money that we care about. It's the fulfillment that you get from the things you do. And I give this analogy all the time. And if y'all haven't heard this, now I'll be really surprised. But in my sales calls for my firm, one of the things I always tell the potential clients, I say, look, if you walk into somebody's house and they have beautiful artwork, no one's talking about the hammer and the nails that they used to hang the pictures. No one, right? And they probably aren't even talking about the artwork itself. They're talking about the feeling that they get when they walk in the room where the artwork is hung. Now, how does that translate to money, right? No one cares about IRA, 401k, like those are just IRS tax codes, right? Those are just vehicles. No one cares about how much money is in those accounts. What you really care about is that you've envisioned what your ideal life looks like, and you understand that it takes fuel to get there, right? And so we just want to make sure that we put you guys in the right mind frame that, hey, money is cool. Like money is just a tool. Money is part of the intro on my last podcast. Money is like gas on a road trip, right? Sure, you need it to get where you're going, but you're not going on a tour of gas stations.
I love that.
You're not going on a tour of gas stations.
Jesus, I love that.
You know what I'm saying? Bar, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, listen. And so I say all that to say, man, like, the reason why we like entertainers and athletes and all that stuff is because ultimately, if we look at let's look at basketball, which will be a great pivot to LeBron James, right? They play a game that they enjoy for at least 18 years, right? Because I know there was a stint where you had to go to college for at least a year. Mm-hmm. So at least, maybe not 18, she ain't playing at one, at least 15 years, right? They're probably playing a game with no guarantees, right? They just did the rule with the NCAA that you can, get money from your likeness, right? 15 years at least, right? Playing a game. Why? Like, yes, they deserve to get millions upon millions of dollars, right? To master that skill. You know what I'm saying? So do what you enjoy. Like, stop worrying about the check out the gate. Mm-hmm. The bag is going to find you.
And Jack, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna give a quick analogy and it's all yours. Amateurs make money on the front end, experts make money on the back end. Okay, and I'll say it again. Amateurs make money on the front end, experts make money in the back end. So don't worry about getting paid at first. Become good, and I promise you money will follow. Go ahead, Jack.
No, good point. So what I like to say about what you're saying, George, is you want to be able to make sure that you're creating impact, right? So even for athletes, they are creating impact. That's one of the biggest entertainment platforms that we have. Mm-hmm. We've got whole parties and seasons that are surrounded around these things because it's bringing joy to people's lives. That's the reality of it. Whether you think that teachers should be paid as much as athletes, let's talk about, some of the impact. So they are entertaining. And so if you think about your position, what you're doing, is it impacting people? Like, what are you bringing to the world? And so one exercise that I like to give people who are questioning their value or their expertise is to literally write down a list of 20 things that you bring of value. Think through that, because it's going to be really hard for you to become an expert in your field if you can't write down 20 things of value that you bring.
Yeah. And also ask other people, right? Yeah. Like, ask other people around you, hey, like, because there's things that, like, if we're being honest, like, even though my main lane is finance, my organic gift is marketing. You know what I'm saying? Just like
yes, it is.
Like, ideas just like seep out of my pores. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, this is what the name should be. This is what like matter of fact, let's talk about this rebrand. So when we were like deciding to do this rebrand, and like, we got kind of like some insight from our marketing team, like, hey, you guys should probably do this. Within 48 hours, I came back to both of them and the whole shit was mapped out. Like every nuance.
On a weekend at that. Yeah, go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? And so I say that to say, like, sometimes I have to remind myself, like, yo, like, it's okay. Like, that's kind of like your thing. Like, you're good at that. And I enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? Which is why, like, I just talk about it organically. So just be okay with just like, again, having those things that like you just do organically well, and then ask other people, because they don't gain anything by telling you anything other than the truth. Like, hey, outside of what you know about me, like whatever, like when you think about like what I'm uniquely good at, like what comes to mind, right? And other people are going to tell you, like, they're going to tell you things you might not even be thinking about.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The beauty
Go ahead. What's the beauty?
The beauty in that is this: like, when you're naturally good at something, you don't know how good you are because it's so easy to you. So that's why you have to ask people, like, hey, what do you think I'm good at? Because singers who sing really well, it's easy to them. Dancers who dance really well, it's easy to them. So they don't know that they have a gift. So the curse about being blessed with talent is you not knowing you have it. So you gotta ask around.
Yes. Right. And I think that there's a difference between a gift and a skill set. So understand that your gift is what you are naturally born with. That's inherent to you, right? That's a gift. A skill set is what you build on top of that gift. So I am gifted to be wildly athletic. And I had to build my skill set to cross up George and make Carter fall and break his ankles.
Wow. I can't wait till next time we
Kobe talks about that. He's like, I was gifted with the game of basketball. But skill is different. Skill is putting in hours of work and determination and sweat equity. So we say all this to say, guys, like whatever your industry is, nursing, finance, education, whatever, be a master at that. But never let people's title on you put you into a jail if that's the only thing you can do. Because when you tap into your greatness and the different outlets, you're able to make an impact on lives. And again, as we talked about this whole time, impact means more than money than we can ever experience. So guys, I really want you all to take that point away. Yeah, impact. Number one thing, impact is more important than anything.
Yeah, right? For sure.
Impact is so important. And I've got one way that you guys can really quickly on the spot impact people. And that's by leaving a 5-star review for this podcast.
That's a fact.
So one of our last 5-star reviews read from KD13678. If you are KD13678, going back to the basketball analogies, let's see, maybe Kevin Durant, but I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Might get that man a brush.
Go ahead.
Come on, we speaking it into existence. Watch me get this podcast in front of KD, and all y'all gonna pay up.
Okay. Right. I'm like, sorry, Katie, I was just joking, man. I wasn't
joking first, but go ahead.
This is the kind of transparency and truth we need in our ears.
Simple and sweet. We love it. Appreciate you. Hey, so look, guys, Carter's, he got a salsa. I mean, he might have already be late to it, but he has a salsa class to get to. So we're gonna wrap this thing up, man. We hope that this podcast was valuable. If you enjoy being in this digital room with us, listening to us, I think podcast is one of the most intimate content platforms because it feels like we're literally talking to you. We implore you to check out our community. We have the #1 financial social network, the Melanin Millionaires Club. I mean, I love it there. It's great. We have aspiring, into millionaires, tapping in, pursuing. I mean, our classes are crazy. We just can't wait to celebrate with you. So if you're looking for a community of people who are all marching in the same direction in their respective lanes, right? And being willing to branch out in those lanes and learn new things, we strongly encourage you to tap into the Melanin Millionaires Club. You can join us at melaninmoney.com/join. We would love to have you. Send us a DM on Instagram once you join so we can personally reach out to you and see how we can help you get the most out of the community. So thanks so much for tuning into this episode. Remember, if you remember nothing else, become a master, but never be afraid to explore your heart's desires.
Stay positive. We'll hear you next time.
Stay positive. Y'all. Peace.